The story of World War II is not only written on land and sea, but also across the skies. Britain entered the war facing overwhelming odds, yet its aircraft and pilots stood firm. From desperate defensive battles over home soil to long-range strikes deep into enemy territory, British aircraft became symbols of resilience, innovation, and survival during the darkest years of the war. We start our journey with British fighter aircraft, the machines that defended the skies and carried the fight to the enemy. Supermarine Spitfire. The Supermarine Spitfire became the most iconic British fighter of World War II. Introduced in the late 1930s, it combined speed, agility, and elegant design. Powered by the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, it excelled in dogfights and played a decisive role in the Battle of Britain. Over 20,000 were built, making it a lasting symbol of British air power. Hawker Hurricane. The Hawker Hurricane was Britain's true workhorse fighter during the early war years. Though less famous than the Spitfire, it destroyed more enemy aircraft during the Battle of Britain. Its sturdy construction and heavy armament made it reliable and effective. The Hurricane proved that strength and simplicity could win critical battles. Hawker Typhoon. The Hawker Typhoon was originally designed as a high-altitude interceptor but found its true strength. At low level, equipped with powerful engines and heavy weapons, it became one of the most feared ground attack aircraft of the war. Its rockets and cannons devastated enemy armor and transport across occupied Europe. Hawker Tempest. The Hawker Tempest was a refined and highly effective development of earlier Hawker fighters. Faster and more stable at low altitude, it excelled at intercepting enemy aircraft and flying bombs. Its performance made it one of the most capable British fighters of the later war years. Bolton-Paul Defiant. The Bolton-Paul Defiant was a unique fighter armed with a powered turret instead of forward-firing guns. Designed to attack bombers from unexpected angles, it enjoyed early success. However, changing air combat tactics soon exposed its weaknesses against enemy fighters. Bristol Beaufighter. The Bristol Beaufighter was a heavy twin-engine fighter built for power and endurance. Armed with cannons and machine guns, it served as a night fighter and strike aircraft. Its radar-equipped variants played a major role in defending Britain from nighttime bombing raids. Westland Whirlwind. The Westland Whirlwind was Britain's first twin-engine cannon-armed fighter. Extremely fast and heavily armed, it was ahead of its time. Unfortunately, engine reliability problems limited its production and operational use. Gloucester Gladiator. The Gloucester Gladiator was Britain's last biplane fighter. Though outdated by modern standards, it served bravely during the early stages of the war. In skilled hands, it still proved capable against more advanced aircraft in desperate situations. De Havilland Mosquito. The de Havilland Mosquito was one of the most versatile aircraft ever built. Constructed largely from wood, it was fast, lightweight, and difficult to intercept. As a fighter, night interceptor, and intruder aircraft, it achieved remarkable success with minimal losses. Next, we turn to Britain's bomber aircraft, the force that carried the war deep into enemy territory. Bristol Blenheim. The Bristol Blenheim was one of Britain's first modern bombers of World War II. Introduced before the war, it was fast for its time and used extensively in early bombing and reconnaissance missions. Although quickly outclassed by enemy fighters, it played a vital role during the opening years of the conflict. Vickers Wellington. The Vickers Wellington was a rugged and reliable medium bomber used throughout the war. Its geodesic airframe design allowed it to survive heavy damage and still return home. Serving mainly in night bombing roles, it became a backbone of Britain's early strategic bombing campaign. Armstrong Whitworth Whitley. The Armstrong Whitworth Whitley was one of Britain's first heavy night bombers. Slow and outdated by mid-war standards, it nonetheless carried out long-range bombing missions in the early years. It also played an important role in airborne operations and special missions. Handley Page Hampton. The Handley Page Hampton was a compact medium bomber designed for speed and range. Nicknamed the Flying Suitcase, it was difficult to fly but hard to hit. Hamptons were used in bombing raids and later adapted for maritime and torpedo operations. Ferry battle. The ferry battle was a light bomber that proved vulnerable in modern air combat. Designed in the 1930s, it lacked speed and defensive firepower. Despite heavy losses, its crews flew bravely during the early stages of the war. Avro Lancaster. The Avro Lancaster became Britain's most famous heavy bomber of World War II. Capable of carrying massive bomb loads, it formed the core of the RAF's nighttime bombing offensive. Lancasters delivered everything from standard bombs to specialized weapons, leaving a lasting mark on the war. Handley Page Halifax. The Handley Page Halifax was one of Britain's primary four-engine heavy bombers. Serving alongside the Lancaster, it carried out bombing, reconnaissance, and transport missions. Its adaptability allowed it to remain useful throughout the war. Short Stirling. The Short Stirling was Britain's first operational four-engine bomber. Although limited by its design and altitude performance, it paved the way for later heavy bombers. Stirling aircraft later found success in transport and glider towing roles. Shifting focus to Britain's naval aviation. Ferry Swordfish. The Ferry Swordfish was already outdated when the war began, yet it became one of Britain's most effective naval aircraft. Introduced in the 1930s, this slow biplane delivered torpedoes with remarkable accuracy. Swordfish aircraft famously crippled enemy battleships, proving that skill and timing could defeat modern defenses. Ferry Albacore. The Ferry Albacore was developed as a modern replacement for the Swordfish, featuring an enclosed cockpit and more powerful engine. It improved crew comfort and performance, although it never fully replaced its predecessor. The Albacore served reliably in torpedo bombing and reconnaissance roles at sea. Ferry Barracuda. The Ferry Barracuda was Britain's first all-metal carrier-borne torpedo bomber. Designed during the war, it combined dive bombing and torpedo attack capabilities. Barracudas were used extensively against enemy naval targets and played a key role in later carrier operations. Blackburn Skua. The Blackburn Skua was a unique aircraft combining fighter and dive bomber roles. It became the first British aircraft to sink an enemy warship by aerial attack during the war. Though soon outclassed as a fighter, its early success demonstrated the growing power of naval aviation. Blackburn Rock. The Blackburn Rock was a turret-armed naval fighter designed to defend fleets from bombers. Its heavy turret limited speed and agility, making it unsuitable for dogfighting. As air combat evolved, the Rock was quickly withdrawn from frontline service. Ferry Fulmer. The Ferry Fulmer was a long-range carrier fighter built for fleet defense and reconnaissance. Equipped with 2 crew members, it emphasized endurance over agility. Fulmers provided vital air cover for British naval forces during the early years of the war. Supermarine Seafire. The Supermarine Seafire was the naval adaptation of the famous Spitfire. Modified for carrier operations, it brought exceptional speed and combat performance to the fleet air arm. Despite challenging deck handling, the Seafire became one of Britain's most capable naval fighters. We now move to the transport and special duty aircraft. Douglas Dakota. The Douglas Dakota, known in American service as the C-47, became the backbone of Allied air transport. Adopted by the Royal Air Force during the war, it carried troops, supplies, and vehicles across vast distances. Reliable and versatile, the Dakota also played a crucial role in airborne operations, delivering paratroopers deep into enemy territory. Avro York. The Avro York was a British transport aircraft developed from the Lancaster bomber design. Introduced during the later years of the war, it was used to carry personnel, equipment, and high-value cargo. Its spacious fuselage and long range made it ideal for strategic transport missions, both during and after the conflict. Handley Page Horsa. The Handley Page Horsa was a large wooden assault glider designed to land troops directly onto the battlefield. Towed by powered aircraft, it carried soldiers, vehicles, and equipment in complete silence. Horsas played a decisive role in major airborne operations, including the invasion of occupied Europe. Airspeed Horsa. The Airspeed Horsa was another primary version of Britain's main assault glider. Built in large numbers, it was designed for rapid mass production using non-strategic materials. Its ability to deliver fully equipped troops made it a cornerstone of British airborne warfare. General Aircraft Hamilcar. The General Aircraft Hamilcar was a heavy glider built to transport tanks and heavy equipment. Much larger than the Horsa, it allowed airborne forces to land armored vehicles alongside infantry. The Hamilcar expanded the striking power of airborne operations and represented a major innovation in glider warfare. Turning our attention to long-range surveillance. Short Sunderland. The Short Sunderland was one of the most powerful maritime patrol aircraft of World War II. Designed as a long-range flying boat, it carried heavy defensive armament and could remain airborne for extended missions. Sunderland crews hunted enemy submarines and protected vital shipping routes, earning the aircraft a fearsome reputation at sea. Consolidated Catalina. The Consolidated Catalina became one of the most versatile patrol aircraft used by the Royal Air Force. Capable of extremely long flights, it was used for reconnaissance, anti-submarine warfare, and air-sea rescue. Its ability to land on water allowed it to save countless lives across the Atlantic and beyond. Lockheed Hudson. The Lockheed Hudson was a land-based patrol bomber adapted from a civilian airliner. Design. Introduced early in the war, it played a key role in coastal defense and convoy protection. Hudson aircraft were among the first to achieve successful submarine kills, proving their effectiveness in maritime patrol operations. Vickers-Warwick. The Vickers-Warwick was developed as a long-range patrol and rescue aircraft. Although produced in limited numbers, it served in reconnaissance and air-sea rescue roles. Its ability to carry lifeboats made it especially valuable in saving downed aircrews over open water. We now arrive at the aircraft that trained Britain's pilots. De Havilland Tiger Moth. The de Havilland Tiger Moth was the primary basic trainer of the Royal Air Force. Introduced before the war, this simple biplane taught thousands of new pilots the fundamentals of flight. Easy to handle and forgiving, the Tiger Moth became the first step in nearly every RAF pilot's journey. Miles Master. The Miles Master was an advanced training aircraft designed to prepare pilots for high performance. Fighters, faster and more demanding than basic trainers, it bridged the gap between training and combat aircraft. Its handling characteristics closely matched frontline fighters, making it essential for wartime pilot preparation. Airspeed Oxford. The Airspeed Oxford was a versatile twin-engine trainer used to train pilots, navigators, bomb aimers, and gunners. Nicknamed the Oxford, it played a vital role in Britain's vast aircrew training program. Its multi-crew layout reflected the realities of bomber and reconnaissance operations. North American Harvard. The North American Harvard became one of the most important advanced trainers used by the RAF. Known for its powerful engine and demanding handling, it prepared pilots for the stresses of combat flying. Mastery of the Harvard marked the final step before pilots moved to frontline aircraft. Finally, we step into the dawn of jet aviation, where Britain began shaping the future of air combat. Gloucester Meteor. The Gloucester Meteor was Britain's first operational jet fighter and one of the most important aircraft of World War II. Introduced in the final years of the conflict, it used twin-jet engines to achieve speeds far beyond propeller-driven fighters. Although it saw limited combat, the Meteor successfully intercepted flying bombs and marked Britain's entry into the jet age. De Havilland Vampire. The de Havilland Vampire represented the next step in British jet development. Tested near the end of the war, it featured a distinctive twin-boom design and improved jet performance. Although it arrived too late for combat, the Vampire became one of the world's first successful post-war jet fighters and influenced future aircraft designs.